So NASA has all these cool missions like Apollo mission, Artemis mission, and then the Orion capsule. Those are all Greek names. And I was wondering what was the reason behind all those names. So Apollo mission was named after the sun god, and it's a chariot that goes across the sky. So it also brings light to the moon. So that was the reason why NASA chose Apollo's name there. And the reason for Artemis was Artemis is a moon goddess, and also NASA wants to put the first woman on the moon, and then Apollo's sister, which is Artemis. So that was an apt name as well. And then when it comes to Orion, that's a lot more interesting. It's one of the brightest object constellation out in the sky. So people use that almost as a navigation star for millennia. If you are coming in a ship, that's the one that guides you, navigates you, it's out there always. So Orion was also chosen to say that it is going to guide us, navigate us to the moon. Very well thought of from a story standpoint. Now, that's not the real reason why those names were chosen. There is a much bigger reason. So this is Cosmic Ray. I take pictures using the backyard telescopes. I make a lot of science videos and astronomy videos. If you are interested in any one of those, please subscribe to my channel and give me an early like and a hype. So who is Artemis? Artemis is a hunter or huntress. She is the goddess of the moon, and she hunts along with other huntresses. She is Apollo's twin sister, and she is daughter of Zeus and Leto. And when NASA wanted to name the mission to the moon, second time, they named the moon's mission after Artemis itself. Artemis, being the twin sister of Apollo, promises to her mother, saying that she will be divine, she will maintain her virginity, and she is going to get never married. And she uses this bow, the crescent moon kind of a bow, silver bow, to hunt in the night. So you can see the correlation between the night stars and the night sky and the characters that are getting evolved. So where did these stories come from?
On heliconia donna homethaiden. Hai treliconus.
So most of these stories are from the ancient Greece, almost back to 700 BCE. The Greek poets like Hesiod, they wrote these poems, and it's not even written poems, they were singing songs, and the knowledge of those poems come in various scripts later on, and the stories kept changing from city to city, which city you go. And these stories mainly were poems singing, looking at the stars out in the sky, looking at all these bright stars mainly. So one of the things the Greek poets were able to do was connect those bright stars into various constellations. They have various names and they have various stories, they have various characters, and those characters started making a lot of stories in their poems. That's how those get built. As they started looking at these constellations, they started seeing the patterns. Those patterns became the characters. The characters turned into stories, and stories turned into these poems. So they passed on these poems into scriptures, and it passed on through the various generations of the poets. There are several stories, and the same story has been told differently, depends on which city that you go to in the Greece. This was the ancient past. So who is Apollo? Apollo is twin brother of Artemis. Apollo is the sun god. He travels on his chariot from east to west. He also speaks future with Oracle of Delphi. He is also a great archer. He loves his sister Artemis very, very well. So Zeus is the father of Artemis and Apollo. And Zeus is the king of the heavens, king of Greece. And there is a big story about Zeus and Leto. So if we go into that one, that will take a long time. But Zeus is almighty, extremely powerful god, and he lives with these extraordinarily powerful queens. So Orion is a great mortal hunter, and Artemis, the moon goddess, fell in love with the Orion. He is so big that he can walk across the sea, and he says that he is going to hunt every creature, whether it's creature or animal, on the planet. So Gaia, the mother of the earth, is very angry with him because he wants to kill all the nature of the Mother Earth. There is more twist to the story. Not only he is being loved by the Artemis, the moon goddesses, Orion goes after something else. Talking about Pleiades is going to be a very, very long story. The Pleiadians are the Pleiades' seven sisters. These are daughters of Atlas. I will leave that story for that at this moment up to that level. But in our story right now, Orion, the hunter, he wants to go after these Pleiadians, and he's obsessed with these Pleiadians or Pleiades, seven sisters, and he's after their beauty, I guess. So he was chasing them for 7 years, and Zeus gets really annoyed by all this, and he moves them into the sky as the seven sisters that we know, the Pleiades that we know. So that's what's going on there. Because Zeus knows that Orion is being loved by his daughter, which is Artemis. So most of these are not just the stories. These are coming from the observations of the constellations, the bright stars, the patterns over the period of number of years, trying to understand the seasons and relationship to the seasons and the rainfall. So there is quite a lot with these stories. So this is Orion right here. And when Zeus sends the Pleiades into the stars, Orion himself, we'll get to how Orion got into the stars later, but Orion himself always hunts the tiny little patch of the Pleiades. They keep chasing. Orion keeps chasing the Pleiades even after going to the stars. I mean, it's in reality, Orion can never reach Pleiades, but Orion keeps going after the Pleiades. So now you know pretty much the characters of the story. So Orion is being chased by Artemis. Moon goddess loves this mortal being, Orion. And Orion loves to hunt, and he boasts himself that he is going to hunt every creature on the earth. And Gaia, the mother, gets very angry with Orion's work, And Apollo himself is angry with Orion because the Apollo and Artemis, both of them promised to their mother and father that they will remain in this celibacy and not getting married. And Apollo sees that his sister is now going after Orion, and he is not agreeing to that part. So there are three different stories here how Orion gets into trouble. So there are two different stories here. One story is Mother Gaia, the Mother Earth, sends a scorpion, and our hero in the story here, Orion, gets into trouble and he passes away. That's one story. The second story was someone else actually sends the scorpion and Orion passes away. These are the two famous stories out there, but there is one more story out there how Orion gets into trouble. So the other story that was out there was Apollo is very angry with Orion and he cheats and misleads Artemis by telling her that, can you aim for something that is shiny out there in the ocean and see if you can send your arrows there. That was Orion swimming with his head out there in the ocean. And Apollo knows that was Orion that was swimming out there, but she could not see that far, and she thinks that she is going after a target that her brother is showing. And of course, she is a powerful hunter. She is the goddess of the hunter. So Orion gets into trouble. So Artemis gets to know that Orion is no longer there. Artemis is way too powerful. She is the moon goddess, hunter goddess, and she knows that Orion is powerful himself. She wants to convert the Orion into an immortal by sending him into the stars. Not just sending him into the stars, Artemis wants to put Orion, she wants to put Orion in a place in the sky where she could pass him every night. So Orion constellation always passes by moon most of the time, like during the year, while Orion up in the sky, you will always see Orion passing the moon at least 30 to 40 times in the year. And that was basically the way Orion ends up in the sky. So I'm not really sure who sends Scorpion up in the sky, but Scorpion ends up the other side of the Orion. So if Orion is coming down, then Scorpion is going to go up. They don't. They never are in the sky at the same time. It's a beautiful story that was well written, and it actually is not a story by itself. It talks about the constellation and how these things move in the sky. The story starts with Zeus himself, which is the god of the sky and heaven, having Apollo, which is the sun god, and then Artemis, the moon goddesses, carrying the bow because she is the hunter goddess, and Orion being a mortal being, and sends the mortal being into the sky, into the heavens, and places where she could see him all the time, and places Scorpion on the other side because they are no longer in the sky. And Zeus sends the Pleiades because he wants to make sure that they are out there in the stars, not on the ground, so that they are away from Orion. And Orion keeps chasing the Pleiades, and Pleiades is never going to meet Orion because Pleiades is always in front of Orion in the sky. So it talks about pretty much a beautiful poem, beautiful way of saying it. So let's connect it back to what we are working with this story and NASA. So NASA placed the Apollo as the program number 1, which is the sun god, but they send it to the moon. The idea of sending Apollo was because Apollo was a chariot. He is the one who gives the light. That was the idea when it was chosen. And the Artemis, moon god himself or moon goddesses herself, now is the name of the program because we are sending a woman to the first time into the moon. And then Orion, who is the mortal being turned into immortal and always wants to meet Artemis, or Artemis always wants to meet Orion. But the catch in the story is Orion needs to get into trouble first before he goes up in the sky. Doesn't matter. I mean, we are sending these rockets blasting and then sending into the sky anyway. But anyway, that's what I wanted to leave behind. So if you like this story, give me in the comments what you think. I just wanted to put this story out there so that you understand where these names are coming from. Whenever you see these names now, there is some kind of a big emotional story out there that is going to connect the dots for you. So if you like it, please give me a like, give me a hype as well. And please don't forget to subscribe the channel. Thank you, everyone. See you all soon.